The biggest news the Combot Collective has reported on yet, RoboGames is back, and it's not just the art bots, the line crawlers, and the walkers. It's full combat, heavyweight, lightweight, middleweight action. It's all here, and we're going to be talking all about the news we've heard so far here at the Combot Collective right now.
Oh my God! Wow! This is the biggest flame we've ever seen.
Has preserved enough energy to get in the flip on Carbine. We're going to go all the way.
Oh my God! That's gonna hurt! Grab the milk, Jenny!
Welcome to the Combot Collective.
Hello everybody, and welcome to another news episode of the Combot Collective, bringing you everything you want to know from the world of robot combat, from BattleBots to the live circuit, from the heavyweight class to the flyweight class. And this is some of the biggest news the Combot Collective has covered since our inception, as the growth of this sport and really the growth of the heavyweight class seems to be set to continue as David Calkins and RoboGames are back. That's right, the French castles are behind us. The man himself is back in the US, and he's here to host the biggest live event in robot combat history once again. This will be the first RoboGames event since 2018, as that is when David Calkins, the founder and owner of RoboGames, and also a former competitor with robots like Vlad the Impaler 2 and Spin Doctor back in King of Bots, then left for Europe for a period of time, but he has since returned earlier on. I believe in 2021, there were some rumors of him coming to California again, and he looks to get his iconic competition back on the map in his usual slot for April 2023 at the Alameda County Fairgrounds. If you're a newer fan of the sport and you're not too familiar with the name RoboGames or its old sister event, the Combot's Cup, the RoboGames event and the Combot's Cup, or the Robo Olympics as RoboGames used to be known as, these events were really responsible for keeping the sport of robot combat, especially the big bot, 60-pound, the heavyweight classes, alive during the untelevised era of robot combat during that dark age of 2003 through 2015. As over that decade and change, RoboGames really became the only proving ground for a lot of American heavyweights to be able to fight, as slowly over time events like Battlebeach, Robo Brawl, some of the Canadian events like Kilobots, all these heavyweight events around the US would slowly start fading out, unfortunately. But RoboGames stood strong and kept staying strong until about 2014 was when they had their first hiatus. But this is really the place where a lot of the early reboot era BattleBots teams, the ABC era BattleBots All-Stars, got their names at. You know, Ray Billings and Hardcore Robotics, you know, the legacy he built with Tombstone that was hyped up so much during the 2015 season. That was all built with last rites at RoboGames. You know, Stinger Killer B, one of the first true fan favorites of the reboot era of BattleBots, Matt Maxim. Its sister robot was Super Snake, also one of the most successful, one of the faces of RoboGames during all of those years. And free shipping, one of the best drivers in the sport, one of the most spectacular drivers in the sport, Gary Jin. Free shipping is a dressed up version of Original Sin, which, you know, you look at the records, I believe Original Sin is a 10 to 12 time major heavyweight event champion. It is arguably the most successful heavyweight in the sport's history. All these robots, plus robots and teams like, you know, Team Danby, Ram Robotics with Gruff, Electric Boogaloo, which of course went on to spur teams like Scorpius and Hijinks, and of course RioBotz, Toro, Maximus, one of the most iconic RoboGames competitors. They all made RoboGames their US home during that decade window, as it really became the mecca of full combat robot combat during the 2000s when the UK was doing sportsman competition early on. Some fans may have even seen RoboGames and not even realized it. We've talked about it before in our Robotica Avalanche video, but back in 2011, Science Channel would air a hour-long special called Killer Robots, highlighting the RoboGames 2011 event. It was hosted by the late, great Grant Imahara and was capped off with, of course, the great battle of Sewer Snake versus Last Rites, the 2011 RoboGames final. Arguably one of the best fights in robot combat history, in my opinion. That was a great little special. It's a shame that never caught on. And the arena that was used during that show is the arena that RoboGames has always been known for, and is likely the arena that will be used at RoboGames in 2023. It's your classic BattleBox sized arena with a slightly lower ceiling than the BattleBox that we know and love. It has a thin out of the arena barrier covering the perimeter, and there are no hazards, which is the big highlight to this arena, something which may go very appreciated after the BattleBots 2021 controversies with the upper deck and the kill saws. But lastly here, let's talk about some of the robots that have already signed up. And oh my goodness, there's a lot to discuss. So much, in fact, that there are so many new current signups that I'm going to have to do a series of videos highlighting some of these anticipated signees and attendees of RoboGames 2023. Plus, we are going to be doing monthly update videos discussing who is pulled in, pulled out, and who is signing back up for RoboGames 2023. Because as you know, with these live events, these cards are always subject to change. But to satiate a lot of fans' desires, as it's definitely much trickier to see who's signed up for RoboGames as compared to any event on Builder's Database or robotcombatevents.com. Let's highlight some of those robots that we do know are signed up so far for RoboGames 2023. It's an NHRL and MRCA invasion in the 3-pound class, as RoboGames really is one of those hallowed grounds that a lot of these new teams that started up in 2019 onward haven't had a chance to compete in yet, which is of course when these two groups started forming up. A pair of those NHRL All-Stars are two robots coming from the Shreddit camp, Shreddit Bro and friend of TCC, Blackbird. But we also have the defending NHRL annual Middleweight champion, Calvin Eba and Lynx, who initially said that the 2022 NHRL Finals would be Lynx's last event. But it looks like with this announcement, Lynx will be coming in for one more event, as all three of these robots are so far signed up for the 3-pound bracket. The 60-pound lightweight class has pretty much been a dead weight class since 2018, everywhere but Russia for some reason, who's trying to bring it back. Shoutouts to them. But RoboGames has expectedly brought it back for the 2023 event. So far, signups has brought home the usual suspects for the lightweight class, like Rocket, like V for Victory coming from the Kingpin team, like Tastes Like Burning, the amazing robot from the Widowmaker team. But the robot to watch win the gold here, of course, would be Federal MT, the defending 60-pound champion from Brazil's RIor, of course, of Black Dragon fame. Compared to the 60-pound class, the 120-pound middleweight class has always been an international mainstay, and hopefully that means we get to see some of those Indian, Brazilian, and maybe even European robots come in for this bracket. Right now, though, expect some classic hard hitters like Bradley Handstand's VD5 and Mortician, Hardcore Robotics' 120-pound version of Tombstone, to be competing in this bracket. And of course, the bracket that everyone, including the Combot Collective, of course, have been talking about is none other than the hyped up 250-pound heavyweight bracket, and it has been an absolute dam break thus far, as a gobsmacking 30 heavyweights, as of when I record this, it has literally gone up and down every hour so far since the signups have opened, have entered so far, and more are coming and going, like I said. But, of course, with that being said, you can expect a ton of these robots to pull out before April. A lot will change as we are over 230 days away from this event actually happening. But 3 robots I think you can count on being at this event are, of course, Ram Robotics, who have applied with BattleBot's mainstay Gruff. This is where Ram Robotics and Gruff made their start, of course, like we talked about earlier in this video. But we also have a robot that we haven't seen since 2018 at the last RoboGames, BattleBot's legend and former quarterfinalist back in the Comedy Central days, Hexadecimator, will be returning and competing here, along with the most winning heavyweight of all time. We were just talking about them. They're in the waitlist right now, but it's very much expected that we're going to be seeing Gary Jin here. Original Sin will be returning with hopes to add yet another major title to that already huge trophy board that Gary Jin already has. So that's just 11 of the over 70 robots which have already entered this event so far. And that number is only going to get bigger. It's going to fluctuate, but it will get bigger. Of course, like I did just mention, keep an eye out because a lot of the names on the list right now are going to be going, and maybe even half of them, I would say, are probably not going to be present for the April event. A lot of things can change. Plans do happen to make, swerves in the road. You know how it goes. But definitely keep up with what we're going to be doing here, because I'm going to be doing 2 videos later on in the next 30 days talking about the robots which have applied for RoboGames so far. We're going to be doing one video talking about the Beetleweights and the Middleweights, and a second video talking about the Lightweights and the Heavyweights. So one small class, one big class for each of these videos here. And then over the following months, maybe every month or 2, we're going to be doing update videos talking about who has pulled out of the RoboGames signups and who has come back in, because this is a huge event. This is the second biggest event. This is the only event you can compare to BattleBots in terms of American prestige. It's full combat. It's going to be insane. There are so many BattleBots so far. There's over 10 BattleBots. I don't want to get into the details yet because I'm going to save that for the next video. But top 16 players, robots that usually don't get a chance, hopefuls, robots that are undefeated right now technically. It is an insane group, and I can't wait to talk all about it. But that's all we're doing here at the Combot Collective. I am Sterling Brown. You can find me on Instagram at SterlingTXTG. But for the Combot Collective, Please give us a like, comment, and a subscription here on the video and with the channel. We appreciate all your support and constructive criticism. Please follow our social media. Our Discord, Facebook, and Instagram are in the description below. Please join those. We will be hopefully doing more interactive stuff on the Discord because Amidst the Havoc was a blast and more people showed up than I even expected, so it was a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much for that. But that's going to wrap it up here. RoboGames is back. Huge news. We're going to be doing video after video about it, and thank God because Robotica is over and we were doing a lot of content on Robotica. I was wondering what will fill the void. This will fill the void very nicely. Thank you for watching the Combot Collective. We will see you next time.
This was the Combot Collective. Find us on Instagram and Discord.